Welcome to... Wait, what? What's that thing on the horizon? Oh no. It's the deadline to the Gamigo Cosplay Contest. Run! Paint! Glue! Panic! Or I could chill and make a video. I think I'll do that. My name is Lou, and this is number 8 of my weekly video blogs on recreating the 115 Sharpshooter armor from Fiesta Online. This is it, the armor I'm recreating, and this is most of the progress I've got so far. The first thing I did this week was finish the top by adding the lace details. The wider lace was easy enough to get, and it was easy enough to sew on with a machine, in some places. On the bottom I was able to pre-fold the lace with the help of a trusty flat iron, heft it onto my dress with some knots and sew it on. In other places, after all the mess I'd made when making the top, the fabric was too thick for the machine. I already broke one needle last week, so I just used a lot of knots to attach the lace. No more time to sew it on properly by hand. At the front there is a place where the lace overlaps. Here I inserted a slip of red fabric to improve the optics. It's possible to do the same with the corners, but I only did so with the one on the cleavage, since doing so turned out to be far too annoying, and this dress has far too many pointy details. For the smaller details I wanted a lace of around 5mm thickness, but I wasn't able to find one that suited the color and the design of the other lace, so I simply made it myself, with the added benefit of being able to make myself proper looking corners this time. The technique I used is called nippling, and it's very easy. You need thread spun onto so-called bobbins. That's why the lace is also called bobbin lace. A lace pillow or something similar to work on. A styrofoam sheet would also do. A pattern, a whole bunch of needles, as well as a whole lot of patience. And lastly, you are going to need a mum to explain the technique, though I assume a book can also do the trick, if absolutely necessary. The gist of it is that you twist and braid the threads on the bobbins in different ways to create different lace designs, and the things you can do with it, they're absolutely incredible. I'd done some experimenting during the last weeks, trying to find a design that works with my existing lace. It wasn't so easy, and in the end I gave up and used a design my mum had used for a table runner she'd made. It looked vastly different with my yarn, because it's just a tad bit thicker, but it fit the other lace quite nicely. Making the pattern for the breast design was a little tricky. I tried transparent tape, both directly on the dress and with a layer of cling film in between, and then used an edding to draw on my pattern. The cling film didn't work so well, and drawing on the tape with an edding, didn't like it. Not so close to my work. I'm sure there's a better solution for this out there, like using masking tape and a pencil, but I didn't think of that. But at least I got my patterns, and after some crazy nippling sessions, all I had to do was attach them. Easy enough. By now I'm very proficient at tying knots. Although sewing in the mirror is something I can't advise, though I'm sure lots of cosplayers have had to fight that battle. Now, one might think that with the pressure of the deadline looming on the near horizon, it should be easier to curb the devil of perfectionism, that black hole devouring all of your time, but no such thing. On the contrary, the amount of effort already put into my costume makes me loath to settle for a mediocre solution. Now I'm even redoing a part of the lace because the tip looks very ugly. And there's still so much left to do. The pieces for the headdress have to be primed and painted. And while I had marked them all with an edding, now that the edding is completely dry, my markings are no longer visible. So I spent some time sorting the little buggers. Priming was just as annoying. I felt like the poor sod at the party, standing all alone at the barbecue, taking care that the sausages don't burn to the grill. In my case, dry stick to the newspaper. And then after 2 layers of priming, my markings, clear as day. Why did I sort them again? For the details of the armor pieces, I finally settled on using metallic white on top of a base of titanium white, both mixed with some transparent flexi paint in the hope of making the paint job more durable and getting a smoother finish. I found it quite astounding how difficult it was for me to choose this color, because I simply wasn't able to judge the optics of the cosplay based only on my test-painted armor pieces. In the end, the decision was only made after putting on the finished top together with the armor, and then became quite clear that it had to be metallic white. To make the paint job easy and uncomplicated, fitting to my beginner's painting skill, I decided to cover all the red parts of my armor with masking tape. It took me about 2 days to tape the few pieces I have. enough time to wonder again and again, is there a trick to this? I'm sure there has to be, but the only one I figured out was getting a shitload of really bright light and a pair of tweezers. But it was a very relaxing pastime, like doing a jigsaw puzzle, only that you can cut the pieces yourself. And it made painting easy as pie. It took me 4 layers of titanium white to get a good strong base, and then I added another 2 layers of metallic white for the shine. The tweezers came into use again to take the masking tape back off. The results are still a little messy here and there if you look real close. I imagine I should have made sure not to paint so wet. Indeed, the pieces where I dabbed instead of brushed the paint on turned out a lot neater. For a first time, however, I'm completely satisfied. Now, I'm unsure whether I should weather it. Probably I won't even have the time for that. And speaking of the weather, my boot covers now look like fancy wellies because I painted them with a 1-to-1 ratio of flexi to acrylic paint. And the only difference is that they're not waterproof yet, and they won't be for a while. I don't think regular spray varnish is flexible enough, and I forgot to order the one specifically sold for flexi paints. That's going to be a problem. Wait, what's that? What a good thing the colour isn't waterproof. And that's all I have to say about this week. It really was the most relaxing week I've had so far. And that's so close to the deadline, it's just weird. And you know what's also weird? You. Watching this video when you could be out there crafting your own cosplay? Shoo! Shoo!